What an absolute cracker of marketing brilliance. Just look at the beauty here. Oh shit, wait, I forgot the ball. So here's what I'm actually talking about. It's a new one to me. It's the Bowsaw American Whiskey Small Batch Extra. Stay tuned to find out if the beauty of this bottle on the outside is the same on the inside. What about you, fellow whiskey-lings? I'm Big Al and welcome to another episode of Whiskey Straight, where today I am bringing you something a wee bit different than normal. Yes, it's not a Scotch, it's not Irish, it's not a New World whiskey, it's not a bourbon, it's an American whiskey, and more so it's a straight corn American whiskey. It's in a beautiful bottle. It really stands out. It is the Bowsaw Small Batch Extra Straight Corn Whiskey, aged 4 years in American oak barrels, 91% corn, 5% barley, and 4% rye. Now this is a totally new one to me. Not a name I'd really heard before, but I walked into my local store there a couple of weeks ago. The off license is on the right, and I was just going in to get some cat food of all things. I looked over and I was like, whoa, there's something I haven't seen before. And this really is a bottle that stands out. So in I popped, and lo and behold, I come out with this and another bottle of whiskey. And yes, I did get some cat food, so they didn't go without. But does the marketing, I really do like this bottle. Does it do justice to the juice inside? Let's get a wee bit deeper into it and find out. So before we get right into it, a quick question, because I don't know the answer. I've done the research, I've looked at the website, and I can't find the answer. Maybe you know it, and if you do, please let me know. What does the extra stand for? I've seen small batch before, quite often, but what in hell is small batch extra? I haven't a Scooby-Doo, not a diddly squat notion. If you can enlighten me, please pop your answer in the comments down below. But let's get right on with it, and we'll start off with the nosing. Sláinte. Right off, there's fleeting hint of vanilla there, and then it becomes corn. It's sweet, it's melting butter, and there is a malty note coming in there as well. And with it, there's a wee hint of subtle pepper, a bit of a cinnamon note as well. So there we have it. It's not a complex nosing. There's not a whole big pile going on the aroma sticks, but what is there? It's pretty nice, it's inoffensive, and you know what? If you're a first time whiskey drinker and you're nosing this, you're thinking, you know what, this is okay. As many people say, you're not used to whiskey and you give them a sniff in your Glencairn and they're like, it just smells like whiskey. This one doesn't really. So let's get right on with the palate and see how it tickles the taste buds. Sláinte. Wow. Totally unexpected here. This brings back memories of my childhood. And with that, I'm not saying that from I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I was a rampant alcoholic, or my parents just didn't want anything to do with me, so they just shoved me to the side and gave me a bottle of whiskey when I come home from school. It's not like that. What I'm saying here is, this reminds me on the first sip of what we called here an ice cream floater. And with that, I mean, if you don't know what it stands for, It's a big dollop of vanilla ice cream and a cream soda, and there's a wee bit of fizz in there, a bit of effervescence. There's a lot of flavour going on. It's something that was very popular over here back in the day. Probably still is, but because I'm sort of a grown-up, old curmudgeon-y type bollocks, I haven't had one for a while, but that's what it reminds me of. And I'll probably just have to go back and have another one and think I'm young again. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get right on and do it again and see how it develops. Now, as it crosses the palate, as it grows a bit, there's a wee bit of an orange note coming in here now. And that is not something I've had in my notes from before. It's orange, quite a striking orange in a way, like an orange you'll get in breakfast when you go to a hotel and they're doing a mass production of it. It's nice, but it's not proper orange, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, you like it because it hits the spot. And then with that, there's coming a wee bit of malty milk chocolate. And it's like that chocolate has a runny inside of maple syrup. But that orange, really is hanging around. And as I say, this is the first time I've got it. And I've gone right down quite a lot through this bottle. So it just shows you how whiskey can change as you get down through the bottle. So I'll go once more. That orange flavour remains. Still a wee bit of chocolate, a wee bit lighter now. But there's a slight zing in there, a wee bit of pepper, some corn sweetness, and a wee bit of cinnamon spice comes into play too. But that spicy nature, as you would expect at 43%, 86 proof, it's not overpowering. It actually balances well with the flavours that are going on. Now the finish with this is, I would say, medium. It brings with it, as it develops more in the palate, goes towards the back of the palate, a wee bit of char, but not a really deep dark char. There's a bit of banana there, a bit of vanilla as well, but it's not like a blend of the two. It's like waves. You've got vanilla, you've got banana, you've got vanilla, you've got banana. It's nice and creamy. It's got a wee bit of effervescence in there. And you know what? Overall, it's a nice, easy drinker. It's not going to blow your socks off. It's not going to do a whole big pile for you if you're a high-end whiskey drinker in general. But if you're wanting to introduce somebody into whiskey, or even if you are a whiskey enthusiast, sometimes you just need something a wee bit different. And I think this is where this comes into its own. And I do like it. I really do like it. It retails at about the mid 30 quid range. Probably a hell of a lot cheaper in America. But what I would say is it's going to come into its own a lot more over here because it is being distributed by Carter and Greer. So I would say it's going to pop up in a lot of off licenses, a lot of stores, and it's definitely one to keep an eye on. And do try it, particularly if you see it in offer, because it is a real easy sipper and something that you could maybe introduce somebody into whiskey with. It's a wee bit different, it's nice, and it does really hit the spot. I like it. As I say, it's not going to make you go, wow, holy shit, this is the best thing since sliced bread or Redbreast 12 cask strength, but it does have its place. I'll definitely be buying another bottle. And good thing is, it is available locally if you live here in the sticks like I do. So if you want to try out a bottle of this, head up to the Barbican store in Angolan and they've got it there, and it really does stand out. So in terms of a score, well, it is a good whiskey. It's better than decent, it's good. So in terms of a score, I'm going to give it an 84. Now, some people look at scoring scales and they say, well, 84 is not a good score. But if you look at my scoring scale, which is going to be down in the description below, you'll see what I mean. It's at the top end of the good range, and one more mark would be into the very good. So definitely give it a try. And if you're local, you know who you are, pop down and I'll maybe give you a wee dram or two. So anyway, thanks again folks for all your support. Thanks for watching. Please, if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, and you know what, when you're at it, ring ding-a-ling-dong that bell too, because that way you'll not miss out on any future content. So look after yourselves, look after each other, stay safe, and keep on drinking your whiskey the way you like it. Sláinte.